Welcome to the France 24 Observers. This show is based on our network of observers. They're ordinary people who tell us what's going on where they are and send in photos and videos to document it. We check everything here in Paris and bring the best to you. We begin today with sexual harassment in Egypt. Egyptian women say it happens all the time. Obscene comments in the street, groping on the bus, men who come up to them and say, "Okay, if I walk with you," when it clearly isn't. In a survey in 2010, 80% of Egyptian women said they'd faced such harassment. The revolution and the instability since then have so far made things worse for women and not better, our observers tell us. We head to Cairo with Abd al-Fattah Mahmoud, an Egyptian man who says enough is enough.
The Basma movement has no political or religious agenda. It brings together people who want to address issues that affect Egyptian society as a whole. The first thing we decided to work on is sexual harassment. With all the instability in Egyptian society, mistreatment of women has exploded. We decided to start patrols to discourage potential harassers. Our first one was during the festival of Eid al-Adha. We warned the police ahead of time, local merchants and residents too. When our volunteers catch a man harassing a woman, they perform a citizen's arrest. Non-violently, of course. Then they take the man to the nearest police station and make sure the police register the complaint. Since we started the patrols, we've discovered that harassers come from all walks of life. They can be any age, from any social class or background. Our patrols are not a solution to the problem. They're just a stopgap measure. We'll only get rid of sexual harassment when Egyptian society rejects it and condemns it.
Now to Saudi Arabia, a country that has not been touched by the Arab Spring revolutions. There has been unrest, though. Shiites in the east have held demonstrations demanding better treatment from the country's Sunni majority. At least 14 of the protesters have been killed in clashes with police. The police say the protesters attacked them. The protesters deny it. On November 8th, the protesters held another march, this time marking the anniversary of the first death a year ago. Our observer Mohammed Al-Saidi joined the march.
The demonstrators went out into the streets of Qatif carrying fake coffins, a symbol of the martyrs who've lost their lives over the last year while protesting peacefully. The point of the demonstration was to focus international media attention on what's going on here in Eastern Province. Journalists from inside and outside Saudi Arabia aren't allowed to work here. The Shiite community in the East has been facing discrimination for 30 years in every part of our lives. It's hard for Shiites to get jobs. Our young people have little hope of getting government employment. The use of force by the police has only made us more determined. It's made us more angry. I think the demonstrations are going to continue. Our young people aren't going to give up. They're calling for an investigation into the deaths. There's a new interior minister in office now. I hope he'll take the initiative and find a solution to the problem.
Now for our weekly roundup of images and reports sent in by our observers. First off, Tripoli, Libya, and some photos one of our observers managed to take on his mobile phone. They show fighting between rival militias in the heart of the capital. One militia apparently blaming the other for the death of one of their men. A unit from the country's new national army eventually showed up. They sided with one of the militias and arrested members of the other for suspected murder. Our observer says it's a reminder that Libya's government still has a long way to go in disbanding the militias that got rid of Muammar Gaddafi. More images now, this time from a port city in northern Egypt. They show a Coast Guard officer setting his dog on a group of anti-corruption protesters. The unmuzzled dog caused a panic and at least one person was injured. The video caused an uproar on social networks, and now the military has said it will discipline the officer. We finished today with a Frenchman behaving badly. It happened in Singapore. The man was filmed yelling obscenities at a group of workers for disturbing his family's Sunday morning. He uses a very English obscenity and calls them Chinese effing animals. Unfortunately for him, the video went viral. His bosses saw it and promptly sacked him. That's it for this week. As always, you can find more reports from our observers on our website, our Facebook and Twitter pages, and on our iPhone app. See you next time, here or online.